For my PhD, I looked at the effect of the menstrual cycle on metacognition. Now, metacognition is a higher form of cognition that allows you to monitor and regulate your cognitive abilities. When it comes to the menstrual cycle, there's a lot of research that looks at physical and emotional symptoms. But a significant amount of women also suffer from cognitive symptoms. For example, cognitive fatigue, distractibility, forgetfulness, and this is not covered in the literature. What I wanted to do was, number one, see whether there's an effect of the cycle on metacognition, look at individual differences between women, and if this phenomenon is evidenced, study the underlying biological mechanisms that are affecting these processes. So what I did was I recruited 120 women, did a one-on-one interview with each of them, got their menstrual and medical history. So we developed a tool in-house, the daily online metacognitive evaluation, which was essentially a survey that had to be piloted and validated, and that was distributed and administered daily over 2 menstrual cycles. Once the data was collected, using advanced analysis techniques, I looked at the patterns in the data and mapped them onto the cycle. And the results were very, very interesting. So number one, I did find an effect of the cycle on metacognition, particularly during the follicular phase, so right before menstruation. And this is important because this obviously shows that this phenomenon exists and that it should be studied further. This also has implications, for example, for social policy when it comes to menstrual leave, and in education when we're looking at improving and reducing menstrual stigma. I also found individual differences between women, so the individual effect was more significant than looking at overall average effects. And what this tells us is how unique women are when it comes to the symptoms that they experience throughout the cycle. This has implications for the way that we classify menstrual disorders in the DSM and for the way that we provide treatment. So rather than having a one-fits-all treatment moving forward, we should be focusing on tailor-specific approaches. Finally, based on the associations that were found, so I found a significant link between cognitive symptoms and depression and anxiety, as well as gastrointestinal symptoms. This provides information on the biological mechanisms that underlie these processes. So essentially, it gives us more information about how the brain works. I also want to thank the women who gave up their time for the study. So it lasted 2 or 3 months, depending on the situation, and it was a very involving study. So I'm very grateful for that. I think that this work is very important. It underlies what women, half the population goes through silently every month, and this is something that we definitely should be focusing on.